Hi, good afternoon. Santa Mark here. Hope you all are well and ready for the holidays. Looking forward to my special guest, but first we have a few things that we need to take care of because the Mrs. Claus told me so. So we have four packages this year from Mr. Claus. The first one is the deluxe Santa box. Inside is a gift key ornament so I can get in to your house and you can hang it on your tree or you can keep it by the door. Either way, that'd be great. Also in the box will be a letter which has the specific things that you have said your child is doing well. And down at the bottom, I will handwrite everything that has been sent to me. And it's pretty exciting for me. If I was a child, I'd be really happy, whether it's a grandchild or whether it's your own child or even your husband. Now, here's the certificate that shows that they were good people and they're on the nice list. And it'll all come in a very, very beautiful envelope, especially for this time of year. Normally, what I do is I talk about the North Pole itself and what the elves are doing and who the elves are and everything. But we're going to skip that because we have this really special guest that I want to get to in just a minute. But as always, we're doing the letters. Santa received a couple letters this week. And of course, this one says that they were good most of the time. And this one just says they were good all of the time. And well, the list is long, but it is what it is. When I was a kid, I wanted everything too. But remember, we give them what surprises them, what makes them happy and joyful, and what we believe that they really need. So this one is they want to spend some more time. This young lady wants to spend more time with her best friend. I think that's pretty cool. And she wanted a blue green light and for her desk and a unicorn and she wants a convertible car. So we'll see if we can get her a convertible. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to introduce my one of my favorite Santas. His name is Doug Eberhart. He lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. And as he was telling me earlier, he's actually been the Carolina Panthers Santa Claus for how long now?
It's been going on for about 5 years. They had a change. I can explain that, but I'm actually in the VIP section with the players from all of Tepper Sports, both the pro football players as well as the FC, which is really nice. So I get to see the kids and meet them, and also the players. It's a great opportunity.
Have you and you've enjoyed it?
Oh yeah, yeah. They, believe it or not, they used to have two different Santas, if you will. One for the out public facing tree lighting, and then one inside for the Tepper Sports internal office party, which is held the Tuesday before Thanksgiving in the evening. And then they recently, last year, they moved me down with the public, which is good, and I enjoy that. But it's not open to public from the street level. It's on the street level, but it's kind of caged off. It's called the Village of Champions. So they got a
Ah.
bunch of things going on, and I'll be in there, and it's always exciting. I can't wait.
So, when we were talking last week, it was really amazing to hear your origin story as far as Santa goes. Would you like to share a little bit of that with everyone?
Sure, as far as how I became Santa,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah. Well, this is my 48th year performing as Santa. And I started out when I was 14 years old. My dad said, "Hey, son, let me tell you about a woman who used to dress up as Santa in the town he lived in Ohio." And he said, "You're a big kid." He goes, "You could probably pull this off." So we asked my mom, which she graciously agreed to make my very first suit. In fact, she made my first three suits, which were at the time nothing more than an extra large pajama pattern with fur on the outfit. So it was a really neat experience. But I used to go out. They would take me to these people's homes, and I would have a little newspaper in the classified an ad that said have Santa visit your house or party, and it would have the phone number, and then they would call and book me. And I came across some of the archives just recently, and it was funny. I was charging like $30 or $40 for a visit back then, and so it was kind of exciting, being young, and then I just continued doing it through high school. Then into college, when I came home from college break, I would do it from after coming home from Princeton. We usually got done about the 10th or 11th of December, and I would do it through the rest of the season. Um,
Wow.
so then I just continued doing it. Even when my kids were little, I would still find time to manage to do a number of gigs, if you will. So yeah, that's
Well,
how I started.
that's really that's really interesting. I remember you were talking to me about how your mom was so supportive that she would actually put paper over the dome light so nobody would see you getting out of the car dressed as Santa and
Yeah.
wonder where you're coming from.
Well, I tell you, as a Santa, even then, and this is before I really developed the backstory as to explain why I'm in a car versus coming with a sleigh at the time. Um, but I didn't. At the time, I was really conscientious about making sure the kids did not see me getting out of a car. So I would park places, even if I had to walk further. But my mom would take. She had gloves on. She'd take them and she'd cover up the dome light so that the light would shine even getting it out of the car. She was great. She was really fantastic.
That's
But
quite cool. Yeah. To be that supportive of your children, and I believe that most parents will do that, but just that little extra effort.
yeah, and even down here in Charlotte, when I moved to Charlotte, they would come down for the holidays and Christmas Eve. They would ride with me, and she continued to do it. My mom and dad would. She would be in the back seat. My dad would be in the front. I'd be driving. I knew the area, and I'd go where I was going, and she'd cover up, and I'd get my bag out with the candy canes and the props, and go do my thing. So
That's a really sweet story.
yeah, it was
That's
great.
really, yeah, yeah. Um, so what inspires you after 48 years? What inspires you to keep on giving? Because it's really, I mean, being Santa is you're giving a lot of yourself because you want others to feel the joy and express their happiness and everything. So what inspires you to keep doing that?
Well, I think for me, um, I tell people it's the best job in the world because you get to make kids happy and you get to see their eyes and even with this, the occasional sad story, dad's got cancer, grandpa, can you bring him back? Or my mom and dad are divorced, can you get them together? Even those type of kind of sad stories, most of the time it's joy, and it's joy. It's the energy you bring to the table, and I tell you, it's harder and harder to do if you have a number of gigs. I mean, if you've got 20 gigs or 10, 15, whatever it is, it's tough. But when you getting into the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the hundreds, it's difficult to bring that energy on every single event. So I try to limit it to 3 events per day most of the time.
Right.
But that doesn't always work out, especially on the short weekends where we only have 3 weekends before Christmas. I usually start around 8 o'clock at night or in the morning, and I'm done about 9:30 at night. Unless I do an adult party, and I do a lot of those. So, if I do one that's at 9:30 or 10, you pop in, but you don't have to be, you got to be on, but not on in the same way you got to do for the kids.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I
So
just, it's really the kids, it's the excitement of knowing you're like this godlike, if you will, person where the kids look up with you and they know, oh my God, I'm with the big man himself. He's the one that provides toys to all the boys and girls around the world on that special evening. So from that standpoint, that's enough to get me going. And then of course, when they add a couple Benjamin Franklin's, to the thing, that's pretty good too, you know.
absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you mentioned doing some adult events, parties. What do you do with those?
Well, the one thing about adult parties, there's a couple of rules. I try not to get any pictures where the adults are drinking with their liquor or their wine. And I also do it because I don't want them to spill anything on my suit. So I ask them to put the drinks down. But there's a lot of you can be if you've got a witty tongue and you're a quick thinker and you're good at improv, it can be a lot of fun. And I joke with them and stuff. I mean, I go in, I try to keep it reasonable, but I'm not afraid to tell jokes and talk to, get pictures of, it's always like, you get, you're sitting down, you're on a chair or a throne, and they want to get a picture with Santa, and you got a large person comes over, a woman, she wants to sit down, or she says, "Well, I'm too heavy." I said, "Well, ma'am, you haven't seen Mrs. Claus. Have a seat. It's fine." So anyway, I mean, I like having a good time. I know there's a lot of Santas that don't want to do adult parties, whatever. I'll do anything. I'll do zoos. I'll do whatever they want to do. I'll do because I think it's important. If someone sees a need, whether it be for Toys for Tots with Marines, I'll do those. I'll do restaurants. In fact, the Toys for Tots events that I've done in the past, when they've been held at restaurants where people are drinking, those are the ones where you're Santa, you're getting felled up by all these women that have had way too many drinks. That happens. I try to make that a priority on my schedule. I'm just kidding.
I
If
get
I
it.
can,
I
I can do it.
understand.
But but
So,
the but adult parties are good. I wouldn't shy away from them.
the best thing about meeting you, Doug, was the fact that in that short amount of time that I was at the Santa school, I learned to be myself. And I also learned the fact that an origin story, a good origin story, like I generally tell something about the North Pole with every episode, about my elves, about the design and all that kind of thing. I feel like that freed me to have a bigger imagination than most children so that I could, if they come to me with questions, I can help them see it. And that really brought happiness to all the children that I've been with so far. When they ask me those questions, it's easy to interject. Well, this is Santa's North Pole, you know?
Well, along those lines too, when you get down on a kid's level, and I say this, I teach it a lot at the school, is like when you watch Tom Hanks do Mr. Rogers, and he's able to slow down the cadence and talk to the kids and really empathize with them and look at them and hold their hands and really have contact with them. And then you can talk about anything you want about the North Pole. And you say, well, do you have any questions about the North Pole? Not everybody gets a chance to come see me, and it's so far away. But and then you talk about your elves and about the different, we have I have a staff with a bunch of elf names on it. There's like 300 of them, and I tell the kids I have 2,347 elves at the North Pole, and we have to have that many in order to get the toys built for the kids around the world. And I make it a global thing. And then the other thing I do, and I think this is a personal thing for me, is that I've been to 132 countries. So I can talk about different things about the equator. I can talk about, you know, going to southern Germany and learning how to be a wood carver down in a little town where they have the Passion Play, Oberammergau. And
Ah,
so, and then I have a story about how I met Mrs. Claus and where I met her and what happened. So, you're giving bits and pieces. You don't have to show them a map or take pictures and show them all that. But I think it is important to use your imagination. And if you can't use your imagination, then stay away from it because you'll get caught up and not remembering what you told somebody.
good point. Good point. Now, I was always interested in why you started the Pro Santa uh, clothing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and is that because you were frustrated with the off the rack stuff or
No, not really. I tell you what happened. I was 55 and I knew I was going to try to retire at 62, which I did this past April. And at 55, I said, I want to do something in the Santa realm, not knowing really what direction I was going to go. And, I almost quit. Honestly, I almost quit after 9 months of trying. I had a woman who was sewing for me. She did an okay job, and then things went off the rails later on, and eventually I had to get rid of her. And but we have built a team now of 8 or 9 people that sew for me, and it's fantastic. So, you know, um, you know, I think it was a matter of, do I think we make better products now than we did 7 years ago? Absolutely, hands down. Um, I had no background in fashion, but in my other entrepreneurial ventures in life, I didn't have background in importing. I didn't have background in doing landscaping or outdoor lighting or irrigation systems, and all those things I learned, and I learned on the kind of like on the run. And so I wasn't too thoroughly worried about getting into the fashion business. I didn't go to fashion school, but I have an eye, I think, for making things look different and better. And I think there's things that we do at Pro Santa Shop that are far superior than anybody out there.
I agree. I agree. I love my cola suit that I'd gotten from you, and you were so kind to make sure that that the suit I got was done quickly because I was my other one just self-destructed, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And you just took care of me, and thank God because I had a that was I think the year we had 5 weekends, and that's when I was doing 70
Yeah,
75 in December events. And wow, that just it gave me the opportunity not just to have, two suits, but three or four. And that way I wasn't going burning through them, and I was always looking fresh. So thank you for that.
of course. I mean, that's what it's about. We try to, every year I'm presented with people and problems like, oh, someone's house burnt down and they had stuff. And I try to make every effort to accommodate people no matter where they're at, matter what part of the world. Do we get it right all the time? No. But we really do make an effort to make sure that even in the midst of any other business decisions, that we try to be fair, get it to people on time. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. I'd rather try to manage people's expectations. And if I tell you, I mean, I had a person call me from Switzerland wanting the suit, and I said it's too late. You got to, December 25th. It's the same time every year. Hit me up in January. Happy to- I mean, no, seriously, it's like, you can't be everywhere to everything, and you just do the best you can. Yeah.
I will
So
be hitting you up for a gold vest this year, yes.
yeah,
Um,
well, great. We'll help you out.
what do you think the funniest thing of any Christmas event has happened to you in all your 48 years?
Oh my gosh. I don't know whether it's always funny, but I remember one time I went to a Christmas Eve party, and I was walking out, and it was an adult, more or less adult party, and they had been drinking. Of course, I went in, made my presence known. As I was leaving, it's dark. I'm walking down a blacktop like driveway, and there was a pothole, and I hit that pothole, and my ankle just gave out.
Oh,
And I the actually the whole sole, half the sole, the heel came off the boot, and it was just flopping there. And I thought it was my ankle. I'm walking, I'm like, limping along. I get to my car, I'm driving myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid to take my boot off because I don't think I get my leg back in it, right? So
gotcha.
anyway, luckily for me, I only had one other gig to do after that, and we made it through. But it was one of those things where, you know, that was kind of an odd experience as far as fun things. I had a kid ask me, I asked him if he's going to leave me some cookies and milk, and he said yes. He goes running off about maybe 8 feet away, and he turns around, he comes back, and goes, Santa, are you gluten free? And I'm like, what? I just busted out laughing. I said, oh no, you can make it, with gluten, that's fine, But these kids have evolved, and some of them are smart. I mean, they're young, they're smart, they're used to doing everything with the iPhones and things. I've had kids as young as 5 or 6 want an iPhone for Christmas, and then I'll say, well, Johnny, I said, are you 16 yet? And they said, no, Santa, I'm 6. I was like, well, and the parents are cracking up laughing because they know I'm basically just trying to get them out of having to fight with their kid over getting an iPhone. But no, the kids have been great. I wouldn't do it if I didn't love kids. And I think you
Right.
really have to have a genuine love. And even with all this crying and the 2-year-olds that just wail. That's just part of the deal. So yeah, it's all good. And I want to just say something too. You were talking about numbers. To me, you can have a successful season if you have 20 gigs, 10 gigs.
Absolutely.
Don't have to have as many, some of us have, but it takes a long time to build it up. And, you know, then you got people that I've had some clients for 20 years. Then I've had some that are brand new this year. So you do the best you can and hopefully they'll hire you back and go from there, you know?
It's I think that's the biggest blessing. I'm a real young one when it comes to Santa Claus. 6 years. This is my sixth season. And I've had since the fifth year, I've had the same clients for the last 5 years. And to me,
Perfect.
that's a miracle, that they love what I do so much that they invite me back. And of course, word of mouth is really really a big thing for me because if I do a great job and making them enjoy Christmas a little deeper and their children, and really that means the next people that I visit, if they're friends of the previous people, then they know that they're going to get a quality Santa every single time.
Yeah.
And that's what matters to me is not just the fact that I'm bringing joy and love and really being that grandpa man, but it's also the fact that the next people that I visit know that they're going to get somebody who's not going to smell like beer, not going to smell like cigarettes, not going to be chewing gum, going to look the part, act the part, and actually really, really enjoy the children.
Well,
So
and everybody, listen, everybody gets into the quote business of being Santa for different reasons. Sometimes it's family, sometimes it's church, sometimes it's XYZ. It doesn't matter. But what does matter is if you're going to be in it for the long haul, you've got to understand, what your role is. I've gone to parties where there are about maybe 10 families and they have about 15, 20 kids, but the parents are so noisy and drinking where I've had to stand in front and just hold my hands and wait till they stop talking because I don't want to project or try to project over all that noise to speak to the little ones. And I feel like even though you might be paying me $300 to come to your house, I want to make sure that I'm not looked as a babysitter or they just have their party. They can have their party and have a great time, but I need time to talk to the kids. And when I come into an event, I listen, I'm watching the kids. I'm not really watching the parents or the host. I'm watching the kids because you're Santa Claus. You're the big kahuna. You're the top of the world. And anyway, there's just a certain attitude that I take into it and I try to be kind and pleasant. But you got to direct them. I don't want to be by that roaring fire. And you know, and I tell them, I said, now I'd say turn the air on at 68. I don't mean turn it down to 68 and it's on heat. I mean turn it on air conditioning and turn it down to 68. And so there's certain things that I'm really adamant about. And I tell you, I've been to houses where they wanted me back the second year and they didn't listen to list of things to make it a successful visit, I won't go back. I don't need to go back. I mean, I can fill that spot up with somebody else. So,
Absolutely.
you gotta know, kind of like Kenny Rogers, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You're the main person. You're the person they're hiring. So anyway.
Well, do you have anything that you'd like to say in closing?
No, I will tell you, it's interesting teaching school, okay? Because I teach two schools a year, and it's interesting to see certain students come through, people that become Santa, come in the first year, second, whatever, and I can tell who are going to be the ones that are going to be successful. And I knew when the moment that you came to the class that you were going to be very successful at what you did. You were engaging, and I think that's important. You were open to ideas and thoughts. And I want to say one thing. For me, it's not about people becoming like Doug Eberhart portraying Santa. That's not the important part. The important part is that you find that little niche that of who you are and the Santa you want to become, and you really develop that. That's the most important thing. I'll say that we have another great opportunity coming up. My class in March is this year, and it's going to be March the 21st and 22nd. And then we also have another great event coming up called the Santa Summit, and that's going to be in Mount Juliet, just outside of Nashville. And me and Joe Barney and Steve Price, Rich Lang, Roy Stone, a bunch of us put together a great event that's going to be Wednesday the 22nd, the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th of April in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. And there are going to be some great speakers that are kind of non-traditional, in the sense that they're not always on the Santa speaking circuit people, but I would encourage you and anyone else that can make it to come by. It's $450 for the 4 days or 3.5 days, but it's going to be great. There'll be vendors. It's going to be a real intimate event. It's limited to 150 people, and you can sign up at thesantasummit.com, thesantasummit.com, or call me, Doug, 704-502-2500. That's my phone number. I'll pick up your call.
And I know you do. You do every single time I call, which I really appreciate it. Also, um, Pro Santa Shop, the best place if you want to get the Cadillac or Rolls Royce now, Bentley of Santa suits. That's the place where you want to go. And I'm not talking about something that's going to last a couple of seasons. If you care for it right and take care of it, it's going to last you 8, 10 seasons. It's made well. The materials are great, and they Doug, at your Pro Santa shop, you also do referring in case you rip your fur or something like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a whole array of props now. We have leather items, belts, boot buckles, belt buckles, custom made boots. Since I've retired, I've been able to really ramp it up a little bit, and we're going to continue to add new products and new items to the list.
Well, I'm really thankful that you took your time out from your workshop there, your office at North Pole, to talk to me. It's a real pleasure, and it's always good to kind of pick your brain about certain things, because that enriches my ability to be a better Santa too. So I really appreciate your time, and I hope that we can stay friends. And if you need something, you can always contact me here in Naples. That's the southern North Pole, the subtropics of the North Pole.
Absolutely. That's a great
So,
place to go. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I just wanted to say one other thing. What's really cool is that whether you come to the school or not, if you have a question, you're a younger Santa, someone who's just getting into the business, if you will, feel free to reach out to me. You don't have to come to the school to pick my brain. You want some help on something, they can call me. I'm always able to listen to what they're asking and see if I can give them some good advice. And I don't think it's not about having to charge somebody to listen to what you're saying. Call me up. I'm happy to help you out.
That's very generous of you. I feel the same way if people want to get in contact with me about anything. Especially here in the Southwest Florida area. There's no Santa association that I know of. I would sure like to do that, meet once a month. Like when I was at the school, you had your monthly meeting, which was really great. I got to meet other Santas that were in the area, and I was always wanted to do that because I think through working with each other, we can actually bring up the level of quality in the whole area, not just me or them or something like that, but together we can make a better Santa front as it were, so that the people feel like they're getting what they are paying for, and that's what's important to me. So, all right, well,
Absolutely.
I'm going to do a quick commercial, my finishing commercial, and if you want to stay on the line, and then I'll talk to you in closing. Okay.
Thank you.
All all right. So one more time, I'm going to talk about the deluxe Santa box. Now, if you go to www.mrclaus.net, that's my website, you can see that there's four offerings. Now, for your children or grandchildren, it's a good thing. They get everything that I've talked about plus a Zoom call. So please make sure that you check me out. I am booked for Christmas right now. I'm sorry I won't be able to help you out with that, but February 1st I start booking for the new season of 2026, and I'm generally done booking by late May, early June. So please get your booking in early, and I'll take care of you. If you want to do something in November, if you want to do Christmas in July, even in August or June, which I have done, uh, just go there, give me a call. Go to santaisbackintown.us at gmail.com. Santaisbackintown.us at gmail.com. You can always book starting February 1st. So I appreciate you coming in and watching for our podcast. I appreciate so much that Doug joined us, and I will talk to you later. Have a Merry Christmas and a great Thanksgiving.